doing yourself, which is a good thing to do.
And I was really interested as well by the kind of aside from the pollen issue, there is a potential problem with mould in the garden. And I wondered if you could maybe mention a few of the practices that we might use in the garden that actually encourage the growth of mould and that we might want to avoid if we're trying to keep it, a kind of low allergen garden.
Yes, it is a thing that you have to consider. I mean, it's not as high up the list as wind-pollinated trees, but you do have to be careful because mould spores are equally as buoyant and can cause problems. So I think just be as clean as you possibly can. If you've got roses that have got black spot on their leaves, because that's a fungus, and they release spores, then just clear up dead leaves. Just make sure that you're keeping things from decaying in your garden as much as you can do. And similarly, putting bark mulches, as bark slowly rots down, then again, that causes problems. And keep your compost heaps well away from where people are sitting. I mean, you generally would do anyway, but just basically try to keep your garden free of things that are slowly rotting down. But anything that has rotted, that's fine. You can put it on, incorporate it into the soil. And obviously we all know about mulching our plants. It's good on many levels. But just make sure it's well rotted and keep your garden as clean and healthy as possible. So right plant, right place, so it's not going to get diseases. And if you've got healthy plants in your garden, that's clearing the air for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things to consider that probably most people don't even think about. So it's fascinating.
Yes, absolutely, it is. But actually, it's not all doom and gloom. It's just changing small ways and planting more insect-pollinated plants, and you will have a healthier garden, and you will be less likely to develop colds, sneezes, and hay fever.
Can you just talk about the opals rating and also where people might be able to find low allergen plants?
Yes, the Thomas Ogren, who you mentioned earlier in the interview, has devised what he calls the Ogren Plant Allergy Scale, which is what opals is short for. And basically he numbers plants from 1 to 10, 1 being the best and 10 being the worst. And basically, if you anything between a 1 and a 5 on the opals scale, even into 6s, if you're not going to plant densely, they're fine. They're all fine for in your garden. And he's written a wonderful book that you refer to called The Allergy Fighting Garden. And that's basically a couple of chapters on principles of low allergen gardening, and then a whole list of every plant that he feels that we need to know about. The only proviso what I would put is that he is American, and so there's some things in there that we wouldn't even think of planting because they would be too tender in our climate or just not available. But it's a good starter for 10. So if you were to buy the book, look at the opals rating, and also stick with the not planting wind-pollinated, planting insect-pollinated, then you're going to be good to go, definitely. As far as opals ratings in the nurseries, it's not anything that you're going to find. And I guess because if you have anything from a 7 to a 10 opals rating, you're basically saying don't buy it. So why would nurseries adopt that? There is one Guernsey-based nursery, Nigel Clark, has a plant centre in Guernsey called Q, which is Queux, and all of his plants have opals ratings, and he is also dedicated to propagating female hedging plants. So he's totally online with it, but generally it's quite difficult to find a good steer in garden centres.
Well, I definitely think it's a question that people could ask their nursery, and be interesting to find out what the answer was.
Yes, absolutely. But I mean, I found in the 9 years that I've been planting low allergen gardens, it's a lot of research that I've done myself. But it's quite difficult to find a lot of detailed information out there. Birmingham City Council did a low allergen Chelsea Flower show garden last year. There's Allergy UK, which has also got a very good website that's got a lot of information on there. Or I have my own Instagram, Olivia Kirk Gardens Instagram, and I'm now posting low allergen plant combinations. So those are sources that people could just have a look at if they were interested.
And do you know of any international resources on this?
To be honest, I don't. I'm UK based, and the UK is where I buy my plants. Apart from Tom Ogren and his low allergy garden, and the other things that I've mentioned, those are my resources for what I plant. If there is anything on a more international scale, I haven't found it yet. But if anybody does, then do let me know.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I think we're all going to be waiting with bated breath for your book on it.
I'm writing a book now, am I?
Well, yes, I think you should.
Right.
Just volunteered you.
Yeah, well, that's good. Something I am developing, actually, is I'm looking into, because the book thing has been mentioned, and quite possibly I will, but I'm looking at doing plant cards. With the aim of helping garden designers and anybody else who's interested. They can buy cards as a kind of basic pack for the structure and the big things that you would want to plant in your garden. So it would be a card with a picture on the front, information on the back, and then kind of extension packs that can show different plant groupings that you could think of, or plants for the season, for different seasons. So that's something that I'm looking into doing at the moment, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I think that would make a brilliant addition to people's studios, or even if they're interested in it on a domestic scale. I think that would be invaluable.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I'm working on that with my daughter, who is a qualified graphic designer. So we're doing a collaboration over the summer and getting this together. So just keep watching my Instagram post or my website, and we'll have more information come the start of the new academic year, possibly.
Brilliant. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much to Olivia for taking the time to explain the concept of low allergen planting. It's a really interesting area of horticulture that many people are passing over, so I was really grateful she took the time to come on the show and talk about it, and I hope you learned as much from our chat as I did. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next Tuesday.